Welcome to Power Your Life Today. This is Power Session number 36, Go the Extra Mile with Shawn Anderson. I'm your host, Kristy Jo, mind and body strategist and creator of Body Buddies and Power Your Life Today. In this episode, Shawn and I are going to discuss a lot of things that will help you feel truly you can create the success you want in life. He's going to give you some really specific takeaways. Let me tell you a little about Shawn. He is a #1 ranked motivational author, keynote speaker, and an unlimited thinker. Oh my gosh, I definitely felt that in our interview. A lifetime entrepreneur with a track record in raising performance and passion in others, Shawn and his Go the Extra Mile philosophy and ability to produce winning results have been praised by political leaders, gold medal and world record holders, and media around the world. A 6-time author with 75,000 plus books sold, Shawn is also the creator of the Extra Mile Day in the United States, a day recognizing the capacity we each have to create positive change in our families, organizations, communities, and ourselves when we go the extra mile. On November 1st, 2016, 560 cities made the declaration and recognized the extra mile heroes in their communities. That's pretty darn cool. When it comes to living the life he lives, Shawn walks the talk. He has built a $1 million company, pedaled a bike 4,000 miles across the United States twice, run a 100-mile race, and created adventures in 40-plus countries, including having walked border to border across Japan, Spain, and Portugal. In May 2017, he will add to that list by trekking across both England and Ireland. Shawn has inspired tens of thousands of people around the world through his speaking and writing. He is passionate about sharing a simple message with others. If you want to create a life that you live, never stop believing in your dreams and never stop going the extra mile. In this power session, you are going to learn how to reject any failure that comes your way and how to keep going, how to take a bold step forward and move toward that life that you want. He's going to help you believe in yourself and how to go that extra mile in your relationship and every part of your life, how to bring your best game to life every single day for the sake of yourself, but more importantly, influencing other people. He says we are only limited by how much we think we are limited, and he's going to give you the steps to find the truest part of yourself. Shawn is amazing. In the show notes, you will see links for his social media, his website, and his book, The Better Life. By the way, if you are new to Power Your Life Today, I would love to share with you my free audio tracks to help you plow through resistance over at poweryourlifetoday.com. Whether it's emotional, mental, or spiritual trials, mindset coaching is where we can find solutions and begin making more progress. These 5 audio tracks are going to channel you through lack of motivation, emotional stressors, and just that feeling of being stuck. Now, this is free and my gift to you. So head over to poweryourlifetoday.com and get those 5 audio tracks today. How did this all begin? I've got to hear the story. Where did you get inspired to become a writer and a speaker and to start empowering people?
I've always been a big believer in intention. And, you know, the life that I visualize that I want to live, I then have learned to take massive action on making that intention happen. I learned that first as a young kid. I loved baseball cards. And as a 10-year-old boy, I realized that if I sold enough worms, I could buy as many packs of baseball cards as I wanted. So I created a little worm business. I would go out into my parents' backyard. At nighttime, I'd flood the backyard. I'd gather up a bunch of night crawlers. I'd put them in a big bucket, run an ad in the papers on Saturdays and Sundays, and early in the morning, kind of like this, I would sit in front of my front yard and sell the worms to the fishermen by the dozen.
Okay, that's genius. You flooded the backyard so those worms would come out, and then you sell them. That's like 100% profit margin right there.
Yeah. So, you know, that's where I learned that if you can create the success that you want in life. You know, I've never been a guy that's really applied for a job. I've always been a guy that said, what do I want to do? And then once you set that dream, you create the action plan under it. You start taking the action steps, and then you continue to reject any failure that comes your way, and you just keep going. And that's how I've been able to, you know, kind of do what I do and live the life that I love.
Which is incredible. And some of our listeners, I can already imagine, are saying, wow, that sounds great. how do I do that? I feel locked into my life. I feel like, I've got to go to work. I've got to take care of my family. I have X, Y, Z on my list every day, feeling kind of depressed about it. How do you even start from that to begin to create like you have?
Well, you can't run a mile, on the first day that you decide. I mean, you can't run a marathon the first day that you decide to go out and go jogging. So, but a marathon is composed of 26.2 miles, and all of us can probably go out and run 0.2 miles, or at least walk quickly, and then all of a sudden 0.2 turns into maybe 0.5, and then 1. The point is this: you can't go from A to Z immediately, but you can go from A to B. You can go from B to C. You can take baby, small steps. I'm not a guy that tries to run a mile in a day. I am a guy that tries to move inches forward every day. So if someone's out there and they say, man, I hate my job, I hate what's going on in my life, do not blow up your life. I'm not advocating that. I am advocating, however, start working towards the new life that you want to create while still holding this other life. Just spend 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever you have each day moving forward. Pretty soon, you're going to have enough confidence, you're going to have enough security, and you're going to have enough faith that you can take that bold step forward.
Well, that's essentially going the extra mile for yourself is what it sounds like, right? It's not maybe it's even the extra 0.2 miles. I love that, by the way, the baby steps. And I think that's very powerful, that we don't have to go do everything today, but start moving yourself towards the life you want. What happens if people have no idea what life they want? Where does that even begin? Where do they start to believe that something more than the box they've started to pack themselves into is possible?
You can never live the life that you love unless you define what that life looks like. In every single one of parts of my life, I visualize and I know what I want. I know what I want in my career. I know what I want in my health. I know what I want in my job and my relationships. I know what I want in these areas. And when you have that clear visual, then you can create a plan. But it all starts with creating a clear visual. So just go, listen to that whisper inside you. What do you want? Who are you? What do you like to do? Who do you like to volunteer with? What turns your heart on fire? What are you passionate about? Because those small whispers inside, that's who you are. That's what you love. And so you start building a life around what you love, because who wants to build a life around what they hate, right?
Right. Wow. Do you think everybody has those whispers?
Yes. But I also believe that life wears us down. I also believe that the stinking thinking that we start to generate ourselves. I believe that the number of times you've been told no in your life, the number of times that someone has said, you cannot do it, Kristy, there's no way you can do it, that all starts to take its toll. And when it starts to take its toll, we start to believe that ourselves. So we've got to go back to that point and just, go out on a walk on your own. Go for a hike on your own. Go find your simplicity. Go find that part of you again that just is allowed to think and feel, and go find you again, because it's there where all of a sudden that little voice goes, hey, here I am. Do you remember me? Do you remember how much you love dogs? Wouldn't it be really cool to volunteer on Sundays for the adoption center? Things like that.
Wow. Well, what's interesting is you discussing that for our listeners. I've experienced that very recently, and so maybe translating it into real life, for 4.5 years, I kind of gave up my dream of dance after my severe scoliosis really started to hurt. And when I say hurt, I'm talking 10 out of 10 on a pain level every day, every moment. And I got out of the studio. I focused more on business, got into bodybuilding. And even though that hurt, it wasn't the same as wrenching your body around like dancing. Well, not until 3 months ago did I listen to those whisperings inside of me that said, sure, you love the bodybuilding game, but you love dance more, and that is your heart. And let me tell you, Shawn, it's been 3 months since I've been back 100% in the dance world, choreographing, working with hundreds of dancers, master classes, judging, and I have never felt more alive. And I think that's exactly what you're saying, is that truly living. I stifled those voices for so long because I believed the lie, right? Is that what's happening to everybody?
Yeah, you met your authentic self once again. It's you saw your authentic self and you go, wow, that's a pretty cool person, and you started hanging out with that, and then you became your authentic self. And I believe all of us have special gifts and special passions and special desires. I mean, it's what makes us all so amazingly unique. And the more that we honor our special gifts and our special passions, the more that we're bold and we take risks and walk that direction, the more not only does our life benefit because we smile, but the more that those gifts and passions are shared with the rest of the world. And when we bring our best forward every day, God, the world benefits. People benefit. Your family benefits. Your fellow workers benefit. Because when we smile, everything around us starts to smile more.
That's so true. And energy feeds off energy. And that's kind of your goal, right? You're trying to empower 1 million people to lead a more positive and purposeful existence. And I can't even imagine the repercussions of one person living a higher life. So tell us, what is this goal? Where did it come from? And how interrelated is the Extra Mile Day? Is that part of the 1 million people goal?
Well, I came to the realization a long, long time ago that life is super short. And there's nothing I can do that's going to be on the first day of my tombstone, or nothing that I can do about the last day of my tombstone. But all those dates in the middle, I've got complete control over, and I can change those and I can reflect those. But that's where life is. It's in all those dates in the middle. And so I decided that not only did I want to make my dates amazing, I wanted to remind others that, this was their time. This was their time to have fun and to create romance and to experience adventures and to live positive moments and to meet inspiring people. This is Kristy Jo's time. This is Shawn Anderson's time. This is the listener's time. Now is our time, because someday it's not going to be our time. As far as the 1 million person goal specifically, I just believe that for any goal to truly be a goal that your mind starts to really believe is possible, you just make it as measurable as you can. 1 million people, that became my number. If I were just to say my goal is to make as many people, passionate and purposeful and positive about their life as possible, I don't really have any form of measuring that. It's not really specific. If I'm a sales manager and I go into my team today and I say, how many sales are you going to make today? And the answer is back, as many as I can. It's not an answer. The answer is I'm going to make 2 or 3, because then we can set steps, measurable steps to get to the 2 or the 3.
So how can you measure 1 million people leading a more powerful existence? Do you have a formula for how you're doing that? I'm just curious.
Well, and actually, it's really interesting. I start over from 0 every day. Just FYI on that one. That's always my goal. Today I start at 0. Today we go and we empower 1 million.
Wow.
But so that's my thing. But yeah, there's absolutely ways one could measure in my position the number of books that we sell, the number of subscribers that we have, the number of attendees that go to a conference. Sometimes I'm planting seeds, sometimes I'm watering seeds, sometimes people aren't even, the ground's not even fertile enough to let the seed be planted. But it's okay. I just go out and I do my thing. I try to inspire other people. Maybe there's something that I say that allows that person just to have a little bit more courage. And, that's what I hope for.
Yeah, well, and you never know what impact that you're going to have, and probably you're not hearing most of the stories about the impact you do have, and if only maybe in the next life, right, that you'll be sat down and told exactly what happened, and wouldn't that be incredible?
Yeah, there was a book a number of years ago by Mitch Albom, and Mitch Albom wrote, I think, the 5 people that you meet in heaven, or something about that. It was the 5 people that you influence the most in your life, and he was thinking, okay, well, maybe it's going to be a family member or a friend or a coworker. And it was so unique when I read this book. It was people that he didn't even really know, or he had the faintest idea or remembrance of, because we never know how much impact we can have on somebody. That's why, we need to bring our best game to life every single day. Smile at the cashier. Say thank you to the postman. You might be the only person that really says thank you so much to the postman. Or the cashier might have been having a terrible day, and you just say, hey, how are you today? There's no reason why any of us just can't go out and be human beings every single day and appreciate and support and encourage and inspire and motivate and help transform others.
Absolutely. And, do you have any other ideas of how we can start going that extra mile besides some of those of just being friendly and kind? Are there other ideas that might get people thinking and saying, you know, I really can do that?
Well, let's just think of, you know, most people probably have some sort of relationship in their life that they value today. Well, let's just talk about going the extra mile in a relationship. Let's say that you have a partner. Well, what happens today? For no reason at all. It's a Friday, and let's say there's no special day as far as this person you are concerned in your relationship, and you just bring them some flowers. Or you bring them a nice card and you set it on the table. Or you just you do something really gracious and kind. That's called going the extra mile. It's called doing just a little bit more, giving more. When we go the extra mile, not only do we just like turn on this button in ourselves that say, wow, life is cool, but we do it for someone else. Let's say you want to go the extra mile at work. Why don't you go up and ask your boss, hey, what more can I do to help us reach our goals? That's called going the extra mile. What more can I do? You know, let's say that you're, sometimes if I'm out exercising and I want to go the extra mile, I'll just try to push it to the next light post. That's called going the extra mile.
Interesting. So it's a mindset where you say, this is as much as I would normally do. How can I go one step beyond that? And pushing yourself. So it's not only in conjunction with ourselves, but it's also in the giving and the living at a higher level for other people, showing up for them.
Because, Kristy, if you want to keep producing the same results that you're producing today, just keep doing the same thing that you're doing. Keep doing the same thing that you're doing in your health. Keep doing the same thing you're doing in your relationships. Keep doing the same thing you're doing regarding your financial future. Keep doing the same thing you're doing for your career, your job, for everything. Just keep doing the same thing. And if you keep doing the same thing, I'm almost positive you're going to keep getting the same results. But when we choose to do more, to give more, to be more, to live more, that's what affects the results that we experience today. And sometimes when we just choose to go the extra mile and do more, the results that can blow up from that are even more dramatic than we would have imagined. Let me give you an example. In 2009, I created a day in America called Extra Mile Day. Extra Mile Day was a day that mayors around the United States would go the extra mile and recognize those extra mile heroes who were making a difference in volunteerism and service in their community. In 2009, November 1st, I was elated that 23 mayors across the country chose to do this. Last year, November 1st, 2016, 560 mayors declared Extra Mile Day.
That's incredible.
When you do a little bit more, sometimes results can turn out to be a lot more.
Absolutely. Well, to think one small idea, now how many people has that impacted? How many people are going to be, you know, pointed out and recognized that they never had any idea? And how does that feel to know that you've created that?
You know, I celebrate them. I get inspired by the people that come across the extramileamerica.org website, and I get inspired to just know that these people, they're doing really cool things. I mean, this woman who might have been baking cookies for the PTA for 25 years and never been recognized. All these local heroes. What we've done is we've just created an opportunity for someone to say, "You're so awesome. You are so awesome. Thank you so much," because that's going to make her continue to want to be awesome. She never did it to get that recognition, but when we do get the recognition, gosh, it feels pretty good.
It goes a long way for the human soul, for the mind, for the emotions, for feeling just that gratitude. It's pretty incredible. I watched on one of your YouTube videos about a man. I mean, you just mentioned it, so I was curious if you had more to the story about a man named Creighton, I believe. He was an amputee without fingers and a right leg, and he actually became a triathlete. How does one go from, a debilitating, was it from birth that he had this challenge?
In 2009, when I created the Extra Mile America Tour, and I took at that time my non-bicyclist 47-year-old body across the United States, it was in a Forrest Gump sort of way. I wanted to show a symbol of going the extra mile, but the power of the tour was that we had pre-identified across the country over 200 Americans who had been going the extra mile, either in volunteerism or service or in really overcoming some pretty tough obstacles to do something extraordinary. Creighton Wong was a guy that I had met in the Bay Area in California. And when I met Creighton, he came up to me in the in the interview, and he shook my hand, and I noticed that 2 fingers were missing on his right hand, and he showed me his other hand, and he had 3 fingers missing on his left. I had noticed when Creighton was walking into the room that Creighton was also walking with a limp. You see, Creighton Wong was born as also an amputee, a congenital amputee. He was born without the fingers. He was born with half a leg. But Creighton Wong never let that stop his life as far as living as a congenital amputee. He loved sports. He loved athletics. And when I had met Creighton Wong, he had become a triathlete. Creighton Wong, a man with, maybe 5 total fingers, half a leg, he could go out and swim in the ocean for a mile. He could come back in. He could go put on a false leg and go run for 26.2 miles. And then he could get on a bike with special-made hand gears so that his fingers could work it. He could ride for 100 miles. You see, in life, Kristy, we are only blocked. We are only limited by how much we think we are blocked or limited. If Creighton Wong, born as a congenital amputee, can do marathons, what more can we do if we have our fingers and both our legs?
When you eat real food in a strategic and scientific way, you'll be in balance, satisfied, and experience significantly reduced cravings. The Power Foods lifestyle is a system of scientific principles, packaged in a way that will help you understand how to fuel your body in a way that's best for you. You'll be amazed how much food you can eat when you're eating nutrient-dense food. You don't have to give up dining out or traveling. The PFL recipe books will help you begin cooking simple but delicious recipes for you and your family. You don't have to be a chef or a nutritionist to start fueling your body for more energy, better health, and in many cases, fat loss. Head over to the products page of www.body-buddies.com to start on your lifestyle change today.
Do you think that we need challenges to rise above? Do you think that that's maybe a blessing in disguise, that without that we could never progress, or is it just individual to individual?
Do we need challenges to rise above? Well, if that's true, then every single one of us that's listening and walking today is given challenges, because that's what life does. Life gives us each challenges. Maybe we weren't born like Creighton with a congenital amputee, something so obvious, but each of us is born with challenges. I mean, a few minutes ago, you had shared that you were experiencing pain at a level 10. That's called pretty huge challenge if one's going to start, dancing, lifting weights or whatever. But yet you took that challenge and you said, I'm not going to let that challenge limit my life. I'm not going to let that challenge block me. I want more. You pushed past the challenge, and now you're reaping the rewards. So every one of us has it out there. We could be in a bad relationship. We could have had a bankruptcy. We could just, things are going on, man, but that's your challenge. That's your challenge. And the amazing news is that life is full of heroes that surround us that are overcoming their challenges. We have 100 reasons every day, 100 examples every single day to be inspired, because if they can do it, why can't I do it? Why can't I push a little bit harder? Again, the only thing that blocks us is not the neighbor, it's not the boss, it's not the government, it's the man or the woman that you look at in the mirror every morning.
Very powerful thought to think we have the control. Tell us about the book you're working on right now. It's number 7, right?
Yeah, it's following a model of a book that I had written before called A Better Life, an inspiring story about starting over. That ebook last year spent time on Amazon, and number 1 in both motivation and self-help. And that book goes back to a book that I had read many, many, many years ago that had inspired me. After I had graduated from Berkeley, I was desperate to try to find a job, and while I was trying to create or whatever, I took this first graveyard shift job at a 7-Eleven, which is a convenience store, and I was working from 11 at night to 7 in the morning. And as I was working that shift and I complete my work, back then not a lot of people would come in at 2 in the morning, and so it gave me the opportunity to read as many motivational books and biographies as I could. I started understanding then the principle that if you start to put positive into your brain, positive comes out into your life. And as I was reading all these books, one that really made a mark for me was an author by the name of Og Mandino. He wrote a book called The Greatest Miracle in the World. And in that book, Og didn't try to tell me the 10 ways to be successful. Og didn't try to tell me the 10 ways to be a millionaire. Og didn't try to write to me the 10 ways to have the most romantic, amazing, beautiful relationship in the world. He just simply hid these little principles in a beautiful story. So I decided that if that affected me so dramatically, that's how I wanted to write my books. And so now my thing is not to say, hey, man, this is what you need to do if you want to live the life you love. I write an entertaining little story that kind of hides these principles, and I let people take what they want from them later.
Oh, I can't wait to read that. When do you expect to have it out?
Well, let me point to a book that people could get to right now. It's an ebook, A Better Life. And that book talks about a guy, Jay Garfield, who one day went to work, and Jay had always been living kind of an average, mediocre existence, and one day he gets called up into the boss's office, and he's running a little bit late. He runs up there with his pad and everything. He's ready to find out what's going on, and he finds out he got fired. And that blows his life up in so many ways. And Jay had realized that he was just living a mediocre life, not only in his relationship, but in all areas. And he goes into a real state of depression and frustration and just start reevaluating, how did I screw my life up so much? What went wrong? So Jay becomes completely desperate about living until he meets a teacher. And the teacher's name is Amicus. Amicus then takes him through 21 life lessons that changes Jay's world from the inside out. And so that's how things happen in our outside world. That's how we create change. Change is created when we first start creating change on the inside.
Absolutely. Well, and you can tell that you have taken the time to absorb this information, and now you are translating. That's the hardest part for people, is say, great, we can fill our brains with so many good ideas and inspiration, and that's what people are probably going to say after this episode. Wow, that was inspiring. But Shawn, what do you want people to do as a result of listening to this episode? What is the actionable item?
I want people to just really ask themselves, am I happy? I'm happy with my success, with my life, with my relationships, with any part of your world. And if you're not happy, and if you want to create change in yourself, just start really soaking in this simple concept. Go the extra mile. Because when we start going the extra mile in everything that is important to us, things start to happen, results start to change, and your life will start to change. That's the one principle I would just love to plant in people's minds right now. If you want to create change, never stop going the extra mile.
Do you have any other stories that might inspire us and give us ideas? Maybe, like you talked about in your book, that's how we extract principles and ideas. Do you have a story of somebody you've met that we might be able to learn from?
Well, here's a personal story. Each year I go and I find my simple. And what I mean by finding my simple is I go on these great adventures. I remove myself from technology. I just put a backpack on, and I literally go walk across countries. I walked across Spain and Portugal. Last year I walked 750 miles around Shikoku, Japan.
So
and
cool.
This year on June 7th I'm leaving for England, and I'll be walking across the country of Ireland, coast to coast. And I go find the simple, because that allows me to get all that fat, that not only my physical fat, but the fat in my emotions, in my thinking, and everything just out, and it clears my head. Now, don't get me wrong, the first 10 days of these hikes, they're brutal. I mean, I lose toenails and my feet are black and blue, and sometimes they're bleeding, and I keep going on. But then afterwards I come back and I have more passion or purpose in my life. Now, I'm not encouraging people to go walk 550 miles across the country, but I am encouraging people to find that time, to find that place, that simple, that you can just escape from the internet, that you can escape from having to have your cell phone and look at apps all the time. Go find the truest part of yourself. Go outside and take a walk. Watch a butterfly fly. Watch how your chihuahuas play outside when they just love to look at their buddies that are walking down the street. Go find the coolest things about life. Go buy a cheap bag of bread and go feed birds and watch go do something that reminds us that it is a really precious gift that we have been here. on this earth to experience, to live, to enjoy, to love, to cherish. Go find that. Because when you find that, you become so present in your now. You become so in touch with who you are, with who your world is. It becomes this very special place. The world is not about what app helps us get to here to there faster. That's not what it's about. But it's about honest one-on-one communication. It's about being a reflector. It's about being a thinker. It's about being a feeler. Find that in you, and you unleash your most powerful, awesome self.
And I think that's really the goal here. And isn't it interesting that in our progressive society and all the technology and all of the almost like training ourselves to become more robot-like with the technology and to just do this without thinking and feeling, that everything seems to come back to the soul and the heart and expression and being and interaction with other people. I appreciate everything that you've shared on so many levels. First of all, I'm around a lot of teenagers every day, and the questions they ask, the concerns they have, makes me curious. What are they coming into with their adult years? What kind of world will be this next generation? And it's people like you that are inspiring and giving them the roadmap to live a higher life. So it's not only for, people our age or even older or anything, any generation. This is applicable tools, but this is also road mapping for our next generation. And secondly, what I really appreciate is the entire mission of Power Your Life Today is to inspire people to live a life of more value, more love, and more service. And that's exactly what you have shared with us, is how, the step 1, step 2, step 3, how to do that. So, Shawn, we really, really appreciate your time. To wrap things up, why don't you tell us where we can learn more about you? I know you have your website, ShawnAnderson.com, which will be linked in the show notes, but where else can we find you on social, maybe even email?
On social media, if anybody's on Facebook, you can go to Extra Mile America, and there every single day we post multiple positive, notes and just thoughts to help someone get through their day. And if there's anybody out there that's been inspired by anything that you and I have shared, besides signing up for everything in the world that Kristy's got going on her website and in her life, you can also add an extra. You can go to ShawnAnderson.com, and every Thursday I put out a small weekly column that has one purpose, and that's to either push or pull you up your goal mountain. That's it. There's not a single sales thing in it, because I don't care about that. What I care about is you. What I care about is you getting to the top of your mountain, and because that's who I am. We've got enough people in this world that says you can't. But Kristy, I think you're a kindred spirit in that you and I are people that say you can. And if more of us turned into people that say you can, I think that we'd have more people that were truly happy and inspired, and maybe the world wouldn't be so focused on building walls, but we'd be more focused on building bridges.
If this resonated with you, please share it with one person who comes to mind. Investing in yourself is the best investment you're ever going to make, because when you improve your life, everybody around you improves their lives too. Subscribe to this channel so you are really sure to catch our next power session together, so you can continue to power your life to one of more service, value, and love. Until then, power your life today.